I'm
Hello.
Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're diving into a memoir by Georgina Nunez. It is gripping, it is compelling, and it is true. It is called Roads and Redemption, a memoir of alternative tourism on the Hippie Trail from Amsterdam to India, an escape from the Bikini Killer, aka the Serpent. This gripping narrative chronicles Gina's journey, where her quest for adventure leads her into the terrifying clutches of a notorious serial killer. Join us as we explore her harrowing tale of survival, betrayal, and the search for redemption. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Books to Life Marketing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Georgina, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thanks for inviting me. Yes.
It's my pleasure. This is an amazing story. Let's start at the beginning. You're a young woman, and you decide to go on an adventure across the globe, the Hippie Trail, as it's called, with your boyfriend,
Mhm.
correct?
Correct. Yes.
And
Yes.
you make your way across the world into India, and along
No,
the, no, I'm
no,
sorry.
that's not correct. Um, the boyfriend I went with turned out to be a leech. So in Greece, he already told me that I lost all my money, was stolen, and so you pay for me. So when I was in Pakistan, I had barely any money left, and I thought, how can I pay for him to go to India, me, and then back? With $500 in my pocket, it's impossible. And so I met a German guy, and he said, well, I understand your financial situation, but I have a solution. There's a very rich businessman who hires somebody who can speak languages. And I said, well, I just graduated with languages from high school. Oh, I speak English, French, German, Dutch, little Spanish. And he said, oh, great. And he took me there, and this gentleman, at first I thought, uh, told me that he was a very rich businessman and he was looking for a chaperone because his wife was in the hospital for business dinners, and I had to uh, entertain very rich people, and I would make, at that time, mind you, this was 1972, I would make 1,000 a month, $1, and get clothes and travel and good hotels and meet the in crowd. And wow,
Yeah.
that sounded very
Very, very tempting,
interesting.
very enticing, for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Absolutely. Now, this man who appeared to be a gentleman at first turned out to be anything but. Is that the case?
Well, that's correct. He promised to take me to Goa, but instead he took my passport and my money, which were traveler checks, and he, we went on a plane, but not at all to India, but to Lahore. And in Lahore, we met a cab driver who drove us everywhere. Was beautiful. But then uh, the next day, the guy was in the trunk of the car. We were driving, and eventually, the man died from injections that another girl that was with us, who took care of his baby, had to give to him. And yeah, I tried to escape, but Charles told me, if you escape, I know many people, they'll kill you, or I go to the police and say that you killed the man. So I knew that I would be killed too. I just knew it, or something terrible would happen.
So this
Um,
man that you met who looked like he was, a gentleman at first, who promised you many
mhm,
great things, lured you onto this vacation and travel with him, turned out to be Charles Sobhraj, right?
correct.
And we know now he's a notorious serial killer, correct?
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, I was on the French and English TV talking about it. He killed about, well, they say 20, but it must have been over 60 because when he was finally caught, he had at least 100 false passports in his possession of the people that he had killed. So I don't know
Amazing.
how many, but many, many, many.
Now, the person in your trunk of the car who died, how did he get
Yes.
into the trunk? What happened there? Tell us that part of the story.
Oh, well, Charles gave him a lot of alcohol and sleeping pills. And so he fell asleep. So he put him in the trunk. And then we drove to Iran, Persia at the time, to Tehran. And so I told him there's not enough air for this man to breathe because we were driving through the desert. On top of it, he kept on going to the back to give the man injections. And eventually the man died. Clearly, he said it was an accident, but I don't believe a word of that.
Was this a
He's
man you were recreating with, that you were like having drinks with, or socializing with?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yes,
yeah.
correct.
So Charles tells you, you realize your life could be in danger at that point. You're thinking about getting away, but he warns you if you try to escape, he's going to get you. So what do you do? How long do you continue traveling with him before you finally do get
Well,
away?
I mean, I had to think of a trick so I could escape. I won't tell the trick, but because I'm from a family with many people with character disorders,
Right.
uh, I sort of knew how to manipulate that kind of situation, even at my young age, even though I had not a word for narcissism. Of course, I had no idea what that
Right.
was. So, yeah.
Eventually you escape. How long did you travel with him before you escaped?
Uh, it's hard to say because if every second of the day and night you think you might get killed any time, you lose all sense of time.
Do you think it was days, weeks, months?
Well, it was definitely weeks.
Definitely weeks. Amazing, amazing. When did you realize that the man you were with was Charles Sobhraj, that he was a serial killer? Did you find out that afterwards? Tell us about,
He wasn't known at the time.
right,
That was first murder. So nobody knew about Charles Sobhraj. Besides that, he had many alibis from the passports he used to steal, so he could live his fancy lifestyle.
amazing, amazing. When you put the pieces together later on, were you terrified that, oh my God, I could have been one of the victims? You were scared for your life the entire time you were with him. Did you feel like was he violent towards you? Did he threaten you? Tell us a little bit
Uh,
about what your time with him was like.
no, he was not violent towards me. He was too smart for that,
Yeah,
because he would first be friendly with the people he used to kill. So that was not. Then he would drug them. Then he would take them to the beach, and then he would set fire to them. For that, he was called the Bikini Killer. But yes, as a matter of fact, I'm a very intuitive person, and before I joined him the night before, uh, I'm clear audience, so the voice in my head told me, "Don't go with him. He's going to kill you or sell you to a harem." I go, "What a nonsense! That this is a gentleman." I just, but when he got arrested, he did have a ticket for Saudi Arabia in his pocket to sell me to a harem because
amazing.
I was 18 and I was pretty good looking at the time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yes.
Amazing, amazing. What an incredible story. Thank God you survived it. Um, do you feel if you had stayed with him longer, he would have killed you?
Yeah, the night, 6 hours after I escaped, we would have taken the plane to Saudi Arabia for me to be sold to a harem. I don't know what's worse, to be
Yeah,
killed or to live in a harem for your whole life.
exactly.
It's both horrible.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
What was it like for you writing the story and reliving it? Was it difficult at times?
Oh, yes, it was extremely traumatic because you have to keep going back. It's like exposure therapy. You have to keep going back in time, write down all the emotions, all the thoughts.
Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
Amazing, amazing. Um, when you escaped him, did you continue on your travels, or did you go back to the United States, or tell us
No, no,
where you went?
no. I escaped to somebody who turned out to be of the secret police of Iran.
Hmm.
And I told him the story, and now I was also, he thought we were communists, but of course, because communists got killed in the time of the Shah, uh, but so I got arrested for conspiracy of murder. And of course, I had nothing to do with it, but nevertheless, I went to prison.
How long did you spend in prison?
3 months,
Three
about,
months.
more or less.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing, amazing. And they finally freed you. Why? Why did they finally release you?
Well, my parents came. My father had paid bail, and the attorney told us that it takes 24 hours uh, to alarm the immigration office. And so we took the first plane to Lebanon. Mind you, this is before internet, where
Amazing.
they
Yeah,
know it in a
everything is,
second. I mean,
yeah,
that was 24 hours in those days, right?
right, right.
Yeah.
Amazing. Have you envisioned your book and your story as a movie, perhaps? I mean, I think it'd be an
I,
amazing
I would
movie.
I would love to. That would
Yeah,
be a wonderful movie,
yeah,
especially in conjunction with my first book, Bearer of Family Secrets and
yeah,
Suspicions, that goes about my dysfunctional family,
yeah.
the whole thing. And then later I became a therapist.
Right.
So it
So
is,
it
my
came
mother
full
always
circle.
called me a lotus flower. She
Right.
said, "You're a lotus flower. Your feet are in the mud, but you became a flower."
Amazing, amazing. Georgina Nunez has written a powerful memoir. It's a true story. It's a chilling story. It's a story that brought her to the brink of death. It is called Roads and Redemption, a memoir of alternative tourism on the Hippie Trail from Amsterdam to India, an escape from the Bikini Killer, aka the Serpent. It is a
Can
gripping narrative. Yes,
can I add something?
sure.
I became a therapist to deal with my own trauma. I have many methods. I did heal,
Hmm.
thank God, and I do accept clients all over the world.
Okay.
So if you're interested, I'm a trauma therapist. I deal with trauma, PTSD, and complex PTSD. So get a pen and a paper.
Mhm.
My number is 213 in the United States, 218-6200. And I have a special for only limited amount of clients. If you become my client for $75, you're just forever, you can remain my client. The price will never go up. And
Right.
normally I charge double that. So it's a great deal.
The wonderful offer from someone who has a tremendous amount of life experience from childhood trauma to the trauma as a young adult traveling the world and crossing paths with a serial killer and someone who turned her life around and was able to help others with their suffering, their pain, their traumas. And that's an incredible offer, $75, a one-time fee.
It's really cheap because
Yeah,
most therapists charge over $150.
yeah,
And, but I'm
amazing.
not a greedy person, so
Well, thank you for sharing that offer with our viewers. And Georgina, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
thank you so much for asking me.
I appreciate your time. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.